Hey everyone, this is Rudy coming to you here with the third Piccolo from chapter 3. I hope you tuned in for the first two Piccolos. This will be the last one as we finish off with chapter 3. Enjoy it. My dad recovered from his surgery, and it took him a while to get back to his strength and also be able to go back to work. By 1991, things started to change at his work as well, when a new company had taken over the water purification plant. They had decided to appoint a new plant supervisor, and so my dad's stint as supervisor was short-lived. With the new company having taken over, reshuffling of staff and supervisors had taken place. My dad's responsibilities and accountability structures had changed, and he found it very difficult to work under the new management. Not only that, but my mom's health had also deteriorated in the meantime, and she developed new symptoms and habits as part of her paranoia schizophrenia. She started hallucinating about the cleanliness of her house and would get very anxious as the walls would appear to have dirt all over them. She would then go into a frenzy about it and frantically start cleaning everywhere. Normally the solution would be that my dad would have to give her a sleeping tablet, and after she had woke up from that deep sleep, the symptoms would be gone. Other strange behaviors included that she would at any given time lie down on the floor and also fill the bath with a little bit of water and go sit in it with all of her clothes on. She used to say that a voice would tell her to do these things. This made it very difficult to go anywhere with Mom, as we never knew what she might do, especially if we would go to attend church. It was always nerve-wracking to go to church, and I would pray that she would not do anything weird. But of course, it happened. Mom heard the voice tell her to do her push-up somewhere at church, and it freaked people out. Thinking back, I really don't know why people were all weird about it, because we were in a Pentecostal church, and at Pentecostal churches, weird things happen. Like people start speaking in different languages called tongues. There's dancing and jumping up and down and even lying down. I know for a fact the prophets in the Bible also performed weird acts in obedience to God, but of course I did not understand this at this stage of my life. The end result was that we didn't really attend church regularly and were never really part of any local congregation. During this time in Hammanskraal, my mom became very ill, and she was admitted to one of the new private psychiatric hospitals in Pretoria. We could afford it because it was paid for by the medical insurance my dad was covered through his job. But my mom was in the hospital for such a long time that the medical scheme stopped paying for her treatment, and we had to then transfer her to the Tara Psychiatric Hospital that she had been in 1989. This was devastating to us as we remembered how Mom was ill in that year, and we did not want to see her back in that state again. They also decided that she would have to receive more shock treatment. I also remember having visited Mom at the hospital after she had received her shock treatment. She could not remember any of us at the start, and it was as if she was like a zombie. It would take some time for her to get well again before she could return home. I'm not sure for how long this was, but it was really hard not to have her with us. Dad was doing okay, having to manage everything at home. He was a great cook, cleaned the house, and did his best to care for us while Mom was away. And we also had our part to play as well. Vander and me would help with cleaning, as we had a very big house. I would normally like dusting of the furniture, and he would polish and clean the floors with our polisher. Eventually, Mom came back, but it was if we lost a part of her every time, she would have to go to the hospital for an extended period of time. Other than these events, our time in Hammanskraal was very memorable. We loved the bushveld, especially the open night skies and the stars we could see in the summer nights. We also spent a tremendous amount of time playing in the river, catching fish, killing snakes as I had said, and also riding wild donkeys and goats. Rian Stander, Werner's friend from Brakpan, also came to stay with us halfway through 1991. It was like having an extra brother in our house, and Rian was great fun. He loved doing all kinds of crazy stuff and taught us how to make kitties. Those are slingshots. Build a float, and we had epic hand tennis games in front of the house and at school. It was also in this year that Rian decided to give his life to Jesus after my mom had shared the gospel with him. My mom asked Rian if he wanted to get baptized, and so we made our way to a water channel that was flowing nearby from the Rodeplaat Dam. Mom baptized Rian right there and asked Werner and me if we also wanted to get baptized. Werner said no, but I felt I wanted to. So at the age of 8, my mom baptized me. I didn't fully understand why we did it, but I know, looking back now, that Jesus did. I'm thankful for that decision that I had made, as I can see God's grace and protection over me on so many occasions after that step of obedience. When it came to school, things were going very well for both Werner and me. I had caught up academically and worked very hard to do my best in class and to win a prize at the yearly academic award ceremony of 1991. Werner was by far the strongest candidate to become the head boy, in other words, the president of the student council for the year of 1992. And it was with this expectation that we were preparing for the yearly academic prize award ceremony. The only problem was that my dad had decided to drink on the specific day of the ceremony. We also did not know what Mom would get up to, and I was praying like a mad prophet that night. The whole drive to the school, I just prayed. I prayed that Dad would sober up for this evening, as I knew how important this was to Werner. We arrived at school, and Dad came driving into the school grounds, pushing the throttle of our Ford XR6 with its V6 engine, announcing the arrival of the Botas to everyone. I just kept praying to Jesus that night, and I believe that He heard me. The evening of the award ceremony was a huge success for our family, as I had received a certificate for having the second best marks in my class, and Werner, he was chosen as the head boy for 1992, to the whole crowd's delight. Jesus proved to be faithful, as Dad also sobered up, and Mom did not do anything weird. But unfortunately, our happiness and delight for Werner didn't last very long. Dad was not happy in his job at the water purification plant, as there was too much politics having an effect on him to perform his job. And so he decided that we would move back to Brakpan by the end of 1991. Once again, our hearts broke when we were told this devastating news. We loved it in Hammanskraal and had such a fantastic time there. Werner had just become a head boy, and I was very sad to say goodbye to Johan, my best friend. We promised each other that we would stay in contact, and that I would come and visit him at least once a year after we had moved away. I'm also not exactly sure if Dad had lost his job and if he had decided to leave, but my suspicions are that they had to let him go because of his alcohol usage on the job. The question was, where would we move to? Since Oma had passed away that year and her plot had been sold to a large cement factory. Dad had inherited 20,000 Rand after her death, but that wasn't really enough money to put us in any significant financial position. Luckily, the cement company allowed us to rent one of the houses on the plot for half of 1992. But we had no idea what the rest of the year would hold for us. And so our time in the bushveld had abruptly come to an end, and we were on our way back to the plot in Brakpan. That's all for chapter 3. We will pick up chapter 4 in a couple of days' time. I hope these vlogs have been interesting. If you have any comments, I would really appreciate it if you could share that. And yeah, share my YouTube channel perhaps with someone who could benefit from it. And yeah, I appreciate the time. God bless and enjoy these piccolos. Cheers.